Okay, so as we are already introduced, my name is Sarfaraz, and I will be your trainer for this CPP CPPM course. And now I had already given the main introduction about the exam, who conducts it, it's conducted by the American Purchasing Society, and it is the exam pattern is 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour CPP and 1 hour CPPM. Both will be conducted on the same day. And after you pass the exam, the certification will be dispatched directly from the APP. And the importance of the course, I already said, it's more recognition, higher chances for you to get, in the interview calls or maybe growth in your current roles. Okay. So, so that's why I'm not going again into those slides, but just briefly, I will. So I will just briefly tell you what are the main chapters which you are going to cover. First will be the introduction. So we'll discuss about the introduction to purchasing, the purchasing cycle, the purchasing various purchasing forms. Then we will go into the planning part. We'll discuss about the types of planning in purchasing, the forecasting methods. Then we will go into methods. What all are the purchasing methods, single source method or blanket agreement or multiple source methods. Then we will discuss about the chapter on negotiation, wherein we will discuss about the various types of supplier relationships, what type of relationships exist, and what type of negotiations, strategies, and methods can be used in various types of relationship with the suppliers. Then we'll discuss about the solicitation, what are the types of solicitation methods, whether RFQ, tendering, written solicitation, or oral solicitation, when it is allowed, and what kind of responsibilities and how you are going to take care of that. And then there will be some evaluation, wherein how the supplier will be evaluated and what kind of rating system can be used, what is the rating system used in the American standards. So all these chapters we are going to discuss. When we go through the training, we will cover all this chapter in the CPP training. And the CPPM, we will have just one class in which we'll discuss about general management, supply chain management, and human resource management. So this in the last class we will go through the CPPM slides, wherein we will discuss about the general management as a purchasing manager. What will be your roles? What are the areas which you will be exposed to in the general management? Then it will be about the supply chain management. What will be the roles, responsibilities, and the factors you will be exposed to in the supply chain management? And third will be the human resource management, how you're going to lead your team and motivate your team, and all those factors will be considered in the human resource management. So with this, we will cover the complete syllabus for the CPP as well as the CPPM course. So let's start with the basic introduction. So today we will have just a brief introduction about the purchasing, and later on from the next class we'll go into more detail for each and every chapter. So what is the content is introduction to purchasing, then the guidelines, definitions, purchasing cycle, steps in purchasing, purchasing systems. So these are the content of the basic introduction. Preface: American Purchasing Society Purchasing Certification in 1970 by a group of businessmen who recognized the need for improved integrity in business and improved competence on the purchasing function. So this is just a preface about the APP, the one who gives the guidelines for the training and the exam, and the one who issues the certification. So the objective of the program: to promote recognition and acceptance of professional status for people involved in purchasing operation, among other areas of management. So this is basically this is the main objective, is to recognize yourself, to because the purchasing professionals are, there is a big competition and there are a lot of purchasing professionals. So how you are going to separate yourself from them is through getting various types of training and doing various types of certification, and CPP and CPPM is one of that certification to get yourself recognized as a certified purchasing professional. To develop performance standards and operation guidelines which improves efficiency and effectiveness of purchasing. So the another main objective is to whatever the role currently you are, to improve your role, to grow in your role, and to perform your role more efficiently, so that you may get recognized in your current role and in your current organization. To develop and line by code of ethical that will be favorably accepted by the public. So like finance, as we all know, finance is considered as very critical and very crucial role in terms of ethics. There are a lot of frauds happening in the market, or when it comes the finance, what it comes in the mind is there's a lot of risk factors involved related to the ethics, and it affects not just the organization, but it creates an image on the people, on the public, about the reputation of that organization. Similarly, the purchasing has a very big role in creating reputation of the organization, and any form of malpractice by a purchasing member, or maybe it is intentionally or unintentionally, can create a big reputation damage. Hence, the objective of this program is also to make you aware about the proper ethical rules and procedures you need to follow to avoid any kind of reputation problem to yourself and to your organization. To increase the degree to which the individuals gains personal confidence, satisfaction, and pride from direct involvement in purchasing operation. So basically, it is like a personal trait, the personal confidence, satisfaction, and it can give a more morale to any purchasing person to grow in his profession. So that is also one of the key objective of this program. So the CPP knowledge, skill, and ability that you are going to gain from this course: understand the basic terms and concepts related to the purchasing. So understanding the basic foundation, the standard guidelines, the standard terms which are globally recognized in the purchasing. Explain the purchasing cycle. So any purchasing organization in anywhere in the globe, it will have a purchasing cycle which keeps on repeating, and it will explain in detail about from where it starts, from where it ends, and what are the elements and variables involved in the purchasing cycle. Explain the different forms used in purchasing. So about various types of forms like purchase orders and the request for quotations, stores receipt, and similar such forms which are globally used in any purchasing department, and will show a template of the form. But definitely each and every organization will have its own template, but there are some details which are used by all the purchasing department anywhere in the world. So those recognized terms and conditions which are used in the forms will be discussed. So this is related to the members who, since you have enrolled in it, you will be a member. Once you pass the exam, you will be getting the certification. That means you will be the member of CPP and CPPM. So as a member, should not use their authority or office for personal gain, and shall seek to uphold and enhance the standing of the purchasing and supply profession and the institute by maintaining an impeccable standard of integrity in all the business relationships, both inside and outside the organization in which they are employed. So basically, this is like a pledge which you as a member should make when so that you follow this policies of the CPP membership, fostering the highest possible standards of professional competence among those for whom they are responsible. So basically, you should try your best to give your 100% in whatever the professional work you will do, and try to excel as much as possible in your professional goals, optimizing the use of resources for which they are responsible to provide the maximum. So whatever the resources you have been provided with as in your professional place, maybe it may be in terms of manpower, or it may be in terms of some kind of items, materials, or it may be in terms of some kind of a services. Whatever the resources been provided to you, you should try to make optimize it, to use it to the best, as much best as possible, so that your organization will achieve the best value for that resources, complying both with the letter and spirit of the law of the country in which they are practiced. Such guidance on professional practice as issued by the institute from time to time. So this is basically about complying with the rules and regulations of the country or the state in which your organization is operating, to get aware about those rules and regulation, and should ensure that any working practices that you do as a member should not violate any of those rules and regulations. Rejecting any business practice which might reasonably be deemed improper. So any business practices which like any kind of conflict of interest, or any kind of bribery, or any such things which is considered improper business method, you should reject it as as a member of CPP CPPM. So what are the guidelines? Declaration of interest. Any personal interest which may impinge or might reasonably deemed by others to impinge on the members impartially relevant to his or her duties should be declared. So basically, it's about the conflict of interest. If any kind of conflict of interest is happening, it has to be declared. Confidentiality and accuracy of information. The confidentiality of information received in the course of duty should be respected and never be used for personal gain or designed to mislead. So you should ensure to maintain the confidentiality of whatever the data you handle or the documents you handle, and should not be shared with any party or any person which is not related to those information. Competition, while bearing in mind the advantages to the members, employing or organization of maintaining a continuing relationship with the supplier, any arrange which might in the long term prevent the effective operation or fair competition should be avoided. So as a purchasing professional, you should avoid any kind of your personal relationship or any kind of relationship with a supplier to prevent you to make any business method which is not competitive. You should ensure that whatever the purchasing model you adopt has to be competitive and should encourage competition in the market. Business gifts, other than items of very small intrinsic value, such as business diaries or calendars, should not be accepted. Hospitality, modest hospitality is an accepted courtesy of a business relationship. However, the recipient should not allow him or himself to reach a position whereby she might be deemed by others to have been influenced in making business decision as a consequence of acceptation of such hospitality. So, for example, you are visiting any organization's country, and he's been very his hospitality is very good. He will provide you nice accommodation and help you out in the very best way. So that should not influence you in your work profession, and also it should not cause any kind of impression to the other party that since he has been very hospital and since he has been very good to you, you have been influenced to make decision in that way. So all these guidelines are from the CPP CPPM and needs to be very cautiously implemented. So what are the definitions? Just the basic definitions. Purchasing, a method of acquisition, the process of obtaining goods and services from outside sources, include both procurement and contract and administration. So the purchasing, it covers, this is the definition as per the CPPM guidelines, is for acquiring the goods and services needed, including the administration and the documentation. Material management, the planning, organization, and control of all aspects of inventory, embracing purchasing, warehousing, work in progress, shipping, and distribution of finished goods. So basically, the purchasing relates only to getting the goods, whatever the requirement comes, and doing the acquisition of that requirement will be considered the definition of purchasing. However, when it comes to material management, it will include the purchasing as well as the other related operations like the shipping and storing in the stores or in the warehouses, and also the work in progress, maybe the materials which are going to the production and then the materials which are going to the final dispatch. So all those things comes under the material management definition. Definitions of logistics, the process of strategically managing the acquisition, movement, and storage of material, parts, and finished inventory, and the related information flow through organization and its marketing channel in such a way that the current and future profitability is maximized through cost-effective fulfillment of orders. We all know what's logistic. It's basically to get the movement of the goods. Maybe it can be in the form of a raw material, or it may be in the form of the finished good. If it is a raw material, to get the material from the source till the organization, and maybe there may be a logistic involved between the stores to the actual the production or manufacturing. So whatever the moments of the goods and information which is happening is considered the definition of a logistics. Managing the process of the products through product life cycle and include every moment and value adding activity of the product or parts of the product, from the supply of raw materials to the final consumer and back to recycling. So all the process which is happening, starting from getting the material from the source right till the any decommissioning or disposal being happening. So whatever the moment which is being happening, and the moment of the goods and the exchange of the informations and the resources being employed to do the moment is been considered under the definition of logistics. Supply chain management definition. Managing the chain of events in the supply chain process is what is known as supply chain management. Effective management must take into account coordinating all different pieces of this chain as quickly as possible without losing any quality or customer satisfaction while still keeping costs down. The decision associated with supply chain management covers both the long-term and short-term. Strategic decisions deal with corporate policies and look at overall design and supply chain structure. So supply chain, it starts from detailed planning and strategies and the actual operations and the administration and monitoring of all the movement happening throughout that chain from sourcing of the raw material right till the goods or service being dispatched to the final customers. Operational decisions are those dealing with everyday activities and problems of an organization. This decision must take into account the strategic decisions already in place. Therefore, an organization must structure the supply chain through long-term analysis and at the same time focus on day-to-day activities, formerly known as logistics. So basically, supply chain is an evaluation. Before it was just called a logistics, but now with the growing globalization and a lot of diversity happening in the in the business models and the world becoming more compact, this term logistic has been revised into the term of supply chain. So when we say supply chain, it will cover the purchasing, the procurement, it will cover the planning, it will cover the operation, it will cover the final and the logistics. So all these areas will be covered into the supply chain management. So what is the purchasing must? So when we say purchasing must, it is the right of a procurement. So when you are purchasing profession, when you are in a purchasing profession, and it can be anywhere in the world, the foremost thing which you should be aware about is the 5 rights of the purchasing. So here it's mentioned 6, but the most common anywhere in, if you go for any kind of a purchasing training, maybe it's CPP, CPPM or SAPes or anywhere, the most importantly will be told the 5 rights of a purchasing professional is the right stuff or the right quality, the right price, the right quality. Basically, the right stuff and the right quality is the same. Then the right quantity, the whatever the quantity you get has to be the perfect, right time and right place. So these are the 5 key rights of a purchasing professionals. And so basically, we'll tell briefly about it is when you say right quality, whatever the specifications and whatever the quality has been agreed with the supplier, you have every right to get the exact same quality. So if there is any kind of deviation which happens in getting that if you any kind of deviation in the quality, you have every right to reject that item. So that is your first right. Then the right price, whatever the price you have agreed and you have mentioned in the purchasing forms, maybe it's a contract or purchase order, any deviation in the price, you have every right to reject it, and that is your second most important right. Then the right quantity, if the quantity is exceeding or it's less than what you have requested, you have every right to reject that shipment and to reject that contract. Then the right time, whatever the delivery you have requested them, and if it is either coming before or if it is coming delayed, you have every right to reject that order. And the right place, whatever the Incoterms you have agreed with the supplier, if the item or is not received on that particular place, you have every right to reject that agreement. So these are the most important rights of a purchasing professional. The purchasing cycle. So when it comes to the basic introduction about the purchasing, the most critical and the most important thing is the purchasing cycle, and whatever the planning and whatever the variables, whatever the discussion we have, it all revolves around this purchasing cycle. And whatever the variables are involved in each and every stages of this purchasing cycle will make it to go into more discussion about those variables. So the purchasing cycle, it starts with the identification of a purchasing need, which is understanding the requirement which is only when the requirement is raised, and only then you as a purchasing profession will spring into action and will start the actual strategy and sourcing process. Potential supplier source evaluation, supply source selection, the release and receipt of material requirements, the continuous performance measurement and management of the suppliers. So these are the stages of the purchasing cycle which we will discuss. So now the steps, what are the steps in purchase? Recognition of need, accurate description of desired commodity or service, selection of possible sources of supply, determination of price and terms, preparation and placement of purchase order or awarding, follow up and expedite the order, receipt and inspection of goods, clear the invoice and pay the supplier, and maintenance of record. So what are the basic steps? Basically, it is the purchasing cycle itself is recognition of need, then accurate description of desired commodity or service is basically developing the necessary specification. Maybe it's a performance specification or a conformance specification. Developing those specification which makes to you to receive the right quality. Selection of possible sources of supply. Then the determination of price and terms. Then finally awarding the contract or purchase order, and then following up for that order to get the goods and service on time. Then once the goods is been received, the receipt and inspection of the goods, clearing the invoice and paying the supplier, maintenance of records. So these are all the steps which will be discussed in the purchasing cycle. So here is a basic steps of the purchasing. Okay. Now the purchasing system. So first step which we talk about is need identification, is identifying the requirement or understanding the business requirement. Know the individual requirement, what, how much, when needed. Supply department responsible for helping to anticipate needs. Place forward orders. Supply can contribute more in need recognition stage than later in the acquisition process. So basically, identifying the business needs is the most crucial stage of a purchasing cycle. And this is the stage where you actually need to make a proper identification. You should understand what is the exact requirement. The specification is very key. You need to understand whether the specification is related to the conformance specification. When we say conformance specification, there will be a set of properties for which the specification should match. Maybe there will be value related to the tensile strength, or there may be some related to the resistivity. So when those type of specification are used, it is very simple. It's like matching the specification of your supplier with your or your organization specification. So those are conformance specification. There may be a type of specification where there is a performance specification, wherein there is some kind of a output or an outcome which should take place and the requirements which has been raised needs to that requirement can be fulfilled by the supplier in various ways. So for example, there can be the performance based, as in to construct a warehouse. So finally, the construction of the warehouse is the outcome or the output required. So what is the tensile strength of the cement, or what are the properties of the cement being used, or what are the properties of the bricks being used? So all those things will not matter. What will matter is what kind of dimension is being provided. And yeah, definitely there will be discussion about what material goes into constructing that. But finally, the main specification will be that this warehouse or the store should have the capacity to hold this, and it should it should have this kind of a ventilation. So all this outcome or output type of specifications can be provided. So identification of the need is the very first step in a purchasing system. And the major discussions and the major internal discussion which you should have as a purchasing professional is in the identification stage, because any kind of change which you need to make later on will be very difficult. So identification of the need is the very first step. So this depends on various types of ways. Small orders, handling small orders. When we say small orders, is like standardization. When we say standardization, is like if there is multiple items been sourced and all those items are very similarly related, or for example there may be multiple pumps being sourced, but maybe that pumps are having a very similar requirements. Maybe those pumps are used in a multiple machines. What can be done is to discuss with the internal stakeholders, with the maintenance manager, or with the other internal stakeholders, and to make a single pump to be used for multiple machines. So that kind of standardization can be used to convert it into small orders. Hold until accumulation. So this is very risky. It's like you keep on getting the requirements, and when you have enough requirement to negotiate for the volume, then you can place the order. But that will depend on the department who is raising the requirement, whether he is ready to wait until that accumulation happens. Establish a recognition calendar. So this is like discussing internally with your stakeholder whether that every first of month you will give me the recognition, and you will not accept any recognition. Maybe not first every month, maybe every week, like every Sunday you will give me the recognition, and you will not accept any recognition later on that. So such kind of calendar you can establish. Stockless buying or systems contract, procurement credit card, blanket orders. So these are all the key things you should be identifying in the very first stage, depending on the requirement of the person who is raising the request. So identification of the need is the very first step in the purchasing cycle. Handling small orders is like what kind of ways can be used for handling small orders. Establish electronic linkage, so like using material resource planning or ERP system. Adjust authority levels, like what kind of authority is been provided. Maybe some small orders you can designate to the end user himself to place the order, so you don't need to spend time on those small orders. So such kind of authority you can designate to various people. Maybe you can keep a buyer for a certain value to immediately process the order. So such kind of authority level can be designated. use integrated suppliers. So suppliers who can supply a variety of goods and services can be used. Low value order placement is outsourced to third party. Users place orders directly. So such kind of way can be used to handle small orders or orders of a very small value. So now the identification of need will continue. Purchase requisition. Internal document completed by user that informs purchasing of a specific material need contains. So this is the form, or what you say, a demand letter, which shows that this department is having this requirement, and this is been globally used in any purchasing department. It is called a purchase request, or in some organization it's called a demand letter, or some other, but globally it's called a purchase request form. And what it will contain? It will contain description of material, quantity and date required, estimated unit cost, operating account to be charged, date, what is the date of the requisition, authorized signature. So these are some of the standard things which will be mentioned in the purchase request, but it depends on organization to organization. Maybe there is some other details being mentioned, but these are some of the key things which definitely will be mentioned in the purchase request. Traveling purchase requisition, printed card file for each item controlled in manually operated systems. So this is like any operator or person working on the machine. He may create this manually purchase request. It will also contain the same details which is there in any purchase request. Reorder point system uses information regarding quantity and demand forecast. When inventory is depleted to given level, the system signals the material control department to request inventory replacement. So like a material resource planning software or some other software, wherein there will be a safety stock in for any particular material, and whenever that quantity goes below that safety stock, the system will automatically generate a purchase request and will send to the procurement department to replenish the same. Stock checks, the physical checking of inventory to verify that the system record match actual and on-hand inventory levels. So basically, there may be a system employed wherein every now and then, like whatever the goods been entered and whatever the goods been exited has been entered in the system. However, it may happen that there is some kind of a mistake which makes by the storekeeper, and in case if such mistakes happen, to verify those mistakes, there may be stock checking every end of the month or starting of the month, physically checking that whatever the stock been there, it is exactly matching in the system. Cross-functional teams to identify material purchase requirement, often for new products. So this is still the continuation of the identifying the requirement. Accurate description of desired commodity or service. Information that should be included on the requisition is the date, identification number, originating department, account to be charged. So it may be maintenance or production. So which account needs to be charged? Complete description of material desired and quantity, date when the material is needed, any special shipping instruction. So maybe they may ask for some kind of a different type of packing which is needed, or some other shipping instruction can be provided. Signature of authorized requisition. So very importantly, any requisition is coming, you as a purchasing person should be aware that whether that requisition is formal, whether it is authorized. So many a times, for example, any operator or any other person may raise the requisition, but he may not have that authority to make that request, and hence a proper authority should sign that request, or if there are nowadays there is systems like ERP wherein the request will go through hierarchy, and once it's approved, only then you will get the request. But if it is a manual system, you should ensure that the authorized person has signed that purchase requisition. Blanket and open-ended orders covers a variety of items, stockless buying or systems. So this, for the small orders, there can be a blanket agreement, like for say 1 year, wherein those prices for a list of items have been agreed. And as and when the requirement comes, maybe the end user can himself order from the suppliers and fulfill his demand. Contracting, more sophisticated, periodic billing procedure allow non-purchasing person to issue order releases, employ special catalogs, required supplier to maintain minimum inventory levels, do not specify volume of contract items, improve inventory turnover rates. So the contracting, it is basically, it's used in terms of complex purchases, which will span for a longer duration, maybe for 1 year or 2 year, and wherein there are multiple deliveries been involved. There is a very complex technical specification involved. So it is considered as a more complicated purchasing. So another step in the purchasing cycle is selection of possible sources of supply, locating qualified sources, assessing performance before and after sale. Then, so basically, when we say selection of a possible sources of supply, first is you need to identify the sources in the market. And once the identification is done, we need to check whether they are qualified for the whether they are qualified to make those supply. See, basically, when any purchase requisition comes, when any requirement comes, it can be categorized into basically three main categories. So either it can be regular purchasing, regular or standard. It can be modified, or it can be completely new purchase. So now, whatever the first step the first step in the purchasing cycle, what we were discussing about identification of the requirement. The most importantly, you need to identify from in that requirement is whether it's a regular or standard requirement. When we say regular or standard requirement, it is the same item or the same goods which you have been purchased before, and you just need to replenish the stock or to fulfill the requirement. So it is like that you have a requirement and it has come to the end of the requirement, the cycle will start again. So that type of requirement where the items is repetitive and you already have the suppliers in place, and all that type of requirement is a regular requirement. For that, you don't need to spend too much time. You already have the suppliers in place, and so you don't need to go more in detail on that first step of identifying the requirement. So those are regular requirement, standard requirement. When it comes to the modified requirement, so it is about it's the same items or the same services which is repeating, but there is some kind of a modification come into the place in the requirement. That modification may be, for example, the organization, they want to reduce the cost. We are getting the same item again and again, but the organization gives you a target that you need to do something to reduce the cost to 10% or maybe 15%. So then you start spend again, going in more details on those first step of identifying the requirement. Maybe you will try to do standardization or some kind of modification, or you may try to find some new source. So you will spend more time on that first step when it is a modified requirement. Another example, for example, you are sourcing any kind of IT service, any software you are buying from outside. Then suddenly there is some kind of a change in the technology, in the change in the software. Then the same software which you are buying before, since there is some latest updation being taken place, you again need to do some kind of a strategy and some kind of work, or you need to spend on that modified requirement. Or another example, for example, let's say there is a facility management service contract which you have, let's say for a building, wherein there is a cleaning company who is doing the cleaning of your building. Now there is one more building your organization has built, so the scope of work is increasing. So again, you need to modify the same work what you are doing. So you again need to make a new strategy. So that kind of purchase requisitions comes under the modified type of purchase request. And the third category is a new purchase. This is something which you have never purchased before, and it is a completely new purchase. And in that case, you need to follow a detailed, you need to spend a very long time in the very first step of the purchasing cycle. So if you get any new material, then you need to find the possible sources of supply, market study. So those steps which are coming in the purchasing cycle, the step 2 and 3, so that will be more relevant in terms of new purchases. So this is the way you need to segregate your requirement. You need to identify your requirement, whether it's a regular or whether it's a modified or whether it's a new purchase. So I think for today, we'll finish for now. Okay. So now we will go through the purchasing cycle in detail for each and every step. And after that, whatever the topics we have discussed, we will cover each and every topics related to the planning and the procurement method, negotiation strategies. And so next class will be 3 hours class. It's the timing, as I told, is 8 to 11. But in case if you guys want to modify it, you can discuss about it. Okay. So that's it for today. So today's I think in the learning management system, you can see the slides, I guess. Whatever you have in the you have the access to the LMS, learning management system. You got it already. There's a message, but so you can go into that learning management system. No, that is for the Zoom. No, there was any other personal message sent. You can check with Elvin. He will give you access to the LMS. In the LMS, it says before you get the access. But so far we have not got it. Okay, so you can ask about it. So once you get access to the learning management system, you will receive the links. But you haven't received, yes. So you will get a link. Once you get that link, you can see these recorded videos, as well as you can see this slides, and there will be some study materials. So you will get access to those things in that learning management system. Okay. So for today, we will stop here. It's just a basic introduction. Okay. So next class, we will go, we'll start in more detail. Okay. And regarding the timing, you guys discuss and discuss with Elvin in 1 or 2 days, whether you want to continue the same timing or whether you want to change it. 8 to 11, yeah. So, so it will be maybe 8 to 10:30 or like that. But normally the timing is 8 to 11, like that. So that's it for today. Okay. Yeah, total there will be 7 classes. Now today is the first, yeah, the introduction. Another 6 classes, and the last class will be for CPPM. And the 8th one will be the examination. Examination, you will have both CPP and CPPM on the same day. 1 hour for CPP, 1 hour for CPPM. Here, you have to come to the center, and it is paper based. Yeah, kind of the quiz questions like that will be there. Few practice questions like that. They will dispatch the certificate immediately within maybe I think 1 or 2 weeks like that. Uh, Within 1 or 2 weeks should the result and the certification will be dispatched the same time like that. Maybe so within 2 weeks I guess will be, yeah, the result this.
Because we are only attending this class.
Mhm.
There is no pass or fail concept, just giving them the certificates that we attended the classes and we are certified.
Yeah, like you will give the exam, and definitely it's they normally don't it's a very basic question, so definitely you will not get failed or like that, and they will dispatch the seven.
We will discuss. Is it possible to accumulate some more classes
Mhm.
rather than 6, 7 classes?
For me, it's not a problem. I will check whether that possibility is there. I don't have any issues. Like if you want to do two,
7 weekends.
Mhm.
If we can
Yeah, within 1 month you want to finish the certification like that.
So it
Mhm.
will
Like
be
it's 8 hours, let us extend for 6 hours.
Yes.
Like that.
Or maybe two times in a week like that.
For we 3 people, we have the car and facilities, we can come that nearby.
It will be difficult. Fast.
All those
Even the Zoom meeting is also an option. But yeah, definitely it's a different scene than the face to face is much better.
extend the time out. So
Mm.
we can reduce the
How about 2 classes in a week is difficult for you guys? Two, like 3 hours, 1 class, and next day to work. Mm. Friday and Saturday like that.
Can we make it single dates or extended class?
See, I suggest it will become very boring. Like you lose your concentration, and you say your organization is giving you, so you need to learn things, because after 3 hours you will feel for your focus will move. From my personal experience, I say, even as a trainer, after a few hours, I may that energy I have to train you may also. It's not for that. I'm okay. That's not a problem for me. You can discuss that. That's not a problem. You can discuss internally, and of all internally is okay. You can discuss with Elvin. For me, it's not a problem. Yeah, but extended one, I will suggest it's not a good idea. So. So no issues. You discuss about the timing, discuss about if you want to shorten it, uh, you can definitely discuss it, no problem. But try to finalize whatever you want to discuss in these 2 3 days, so that from the next class we are synchronized, and otherwise again changing will be unnecessary. This. So you know by this time you will finish your training and you will finish your certification like that.
There's our managers also access for things.
Zoom link. So yeah, timeline. So yeah, you discuss with your manager also if you what is his suggestion and freedom. Okay. So if he has given freedom, you discuss internally with and whatever you say. Yeah, come back. You can come back to me or you can check with Alvin. For me, I have no problem. For taking 2 days in a week, I have no problem. Friday, Saturday, any day in the evening also. But still, since you are working and in the evening will be very difficult for you guys, any day is okay for me. 2 consecutive days, I have no issues. Okay. Okay, so from the next class, we will have a more comprehensive training. Okay, so you discuss and finalize this. Okay, thank you so much, guys.
So should we, we can just send message on the group, right?
Regarding
Regarding, like, the link or.
the learning management system. Yes, yes.